After a long day of work, Jacob arrives home and just wants to relax. Before going in, he decides to check his messages, since he hasn't heard from his girlfriend. After Jacob sees that his girlfriend didn't leave him any messages, he decides to sit down and watch television.
He gets comfortable, and decides to watch his favorite sitcom. After hearing the cheesy one-liner "You're the flavor of the week, just be careful not to melt on the job," Jacob gets hungry and heads toward the kitchen. When Jacob gets back to the living room, he hears that he has just received a text message. Jacob finally gets a response from his girlfriend. After reading the text, Jacob is thrown off and confused. He tries to figure out what her message meant. Meanwhile, in an undisclosed location, 3 people are observing and watching. Jacob's show gets interrupted, and his television keeps showing the same scene over and over. Frustrated, he gets up and yells at the television. After realizing he's getting nowhere talking to the television, he calls his local cable provider. Jacob is told that there aren't any issues with his service and becomes even more frustrated. Jacob and the operator go back and forth for several minutes, without any resolve. Jacob ends his conversation with the operator and begins to try to figure out what's going on. Suddenly Jacob's doorbell rings and he runs to see who it is. Hoping that it is his girlfriend, outside he sees no one there. But left on his doorstep is a rose. From a distance Jacob is being watched. No matter where he goes, cameras are watching his every move, trying to digest everything that's going on. Jacob tries to relax and decides to go back to watching television. Again he hears the same line being repeated in another show and becomes frightened. He gets angry and tries to look for clues to see if anyone is playing a prank on him. He doesn't find anything and sits down to gain his composure, trying to think who would play a trick like this on him. Meanwhile, the observers are trying to figure out why their experiment is not working as planned. Jacob's phone begins to ring, and he becomes fed up with all the jokes. No one answers and he becomes even more upset. The observers decide that the experiment isn't working out and begins to end it. In the dining room appears a note and another rose. Jacob's phone rings and his girlfriend's voice is on the other end of the receiver. He tries to explain to her what's going on. His girlfriend tells him how she wasn't supposed to get intimate with him and how he is just an experiment, and decides to tell him what they had was just a fling. Enraged and confused he tries to make sense of what's going on, but before he could speak, the phone hangs up. The observers try to figure out what went wrong but can't come to a conclusion. One observer tells the young lady she must end it. Jacob begins to become lightheaded and falls to his knees. In a matter of moments Jacob is terminated. The observers try to figure out their next move and realizes they must continue the experiment until they get it right.